and then we will get this thing moving. This is the shit show, they like to call it. Okay. Just one thing I have to do right now. Hold on a minute. I have to do something, otherwise I will forget. And then, hang on a minute. I'll be right there in a second. Uncollected. I'll be right there, Bobby. Hold on a second. All right, I'm just doing something, and then I'll be right there.
I'll just say, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be out of here in like 25 minutes because I've got a ton of lineups to go through. So maybe 30 minutes. But let's get it. Alshitz is doing his thing. I'm going to start off with my favorite plays. It's going to be, look, there's going to be later information. I still agree with trying to get the late games in, but I will currently have one of Washington or Sykes in all of my lineups, and sometimes both. I think Anthony Simons is a good play, but probably not as good of a play as he's being made out to be. It's a little bit something you could try to find some other ways to do something with that I think is something I'm considering. I think Nasir Little is a really good play as well. But your core guys are going to be Middleton, Simons, one of Sykes or Washington or both. And then you're getting into Nasir Little, Drew Holiday on DraftKings more so than FanDuel, Jordan Nwora, Bobby Portis for me, and those are sort of the main guy. I want to focus heavily on the Milwaukee situation, and that's what I'm going to do on both sites. I also want to attack the Atlanta-Sacramento game, get some Fox, get some Trey, Herter, Gallinari as other guys in that other price tier. It's interesting because the point guards are dominant. I have point guards in my utility currently in all my lineups. I do have 1 point / shooting guard where I'm playing Simons also because he's the obvious shooting guard to play. But I love Luka tonight. I know that's not a popular take, and I'm very happy about that. I love Embiid tonight. I'm very iffy on the Christian Wood thing, but I think that it might scare people away enough to where at 6,200, it's not a terrible play. There's a ceiling. I mean, even his ceiling numbers are much higher than there. He's projecting well, but he's, usually would be like 40% owned on this. But I think Bobby Portis is an interesting pivot off of that. I think Daniel Gafford is an interesting pivot off of that. I just don't see those other guys getting that same ownership that he's going to get. And maybe Portis will. I think Drew Holiday is going to be under-owned on DraftKings, especially with no George Hill there. Not that it makes that much of a difference, but it's just all the ball handling responsibilities go to him then when he's on the court. There's an outside chance Cousins could end up starting or something, so we have to keep an eye out for starting lineups. That could be a play. But mainly those are the guys who I'm trying to build around. And I do think, getting little mini stacks in the Sacramento Atlanta Hawks game. The Gobert thing is really frustrating because a part of me actually kind of wants to take a shot on Gobert, which I'm not going to do probably because I actually like Capella better. But I don't know, like, if Whiteside if he ends up out, like Whiteside becomes the best value basically on the slate, and you're going to have that pivotable later on. He didn't go through warmups today. That could be a really, really interesting spot to just maybe take a prayer on that he's out and play Whiteside, who will probably get killed by Jokic, but he'll play till he fouls out. And if he plays 22 minutes, he's probably going to put up 30 plus fantasy points minimum. So,
all right. Let me ask you about a couple of other guys. Now, first of all, could you just go over again who you like on Milwaukee?
all of them.
And how would you prioritize them?
The priorities would be Middleton 1, probably Holiday 2 because of the ownership, Nwora 3, Portis 4, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I didn't hear you say it, but I'm sure you did. I was just doing something else. Because my top play in Milwaukee is the aforementioned Jordan Nwora, and the fact that you like him obviously confirms that for me. So I like that. A couple of other we
want to make sure that he's starting and that he's playing for one thing.
Well, right, yeah. But I want to bring up a couple of other guys that you may have mentioned, you may not have, and just that are showing up. Trey Lyles continues to show up as a viable value. Do you still think he's viable?
100% he's viable. The issue is he a better play than Little, Herter, Gallinari, all those guys? I would say Nwora. I would say no, but he definitely has enough upside in this type of game environment. So I will be mixing him in a little bit, but he's definitely lower on the poll for me than the other guys. I actually am mixing a little bit of Josh Jackson and Lance Stevenson as my weird long shot plays. Although Josh Jackson might actually get some ownership because he put up so many fantasy points, and this is a great game environment for him. But yeah, I do like Lyles. It's just I just mentioned though that those other guys are just better plays, I think.
And one other value guy to bring up, I don't know if you talked about him, was Caleb Martin from Miami.
I like Caleb Martin. I especially like it because you can get a little bit of a stack there, and he's forward eligible. So you play Portland, you play Simons and Little probably. If you want to get frisky, you can play Norman Powell. I don't think I'm going to be doing that personally. I do like Nurkic a little bit on FanDuel, but I think that you do want to get some exposure to Hero, who also has shooting guard eligibility. So you play like a Hero Martin with Simon, but I mean Simons has shooting guard eligibility too, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But one of Hero or Lowry with Martin, run it back with Little and Simons is my favorite way to go on DraftKings.
I like that a lot, actually. That's what I did in that shell lineup that what I did during the noon one.
Yeah,
just jam all that stuff in. And you know me, I'll probably play too many guys from each team and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did you mention Gallinari?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's hard to predict minutes because we don't know about Reddish yet, so I don't know what to do with that exactly.
So this is interesting. So we brought up a couple of guys. So interestingly, you have Trey Lyles, Nasir Little, Caleb Martin, Jordan Nwora, all right around that same 4,700 price tag.
Right.
And I think that the eligibility is very similar. They're all forward eligible.
Some are, but you got some that are power forward eligible, also like Nwora.
That's right.
And
That's right.
Little, yeah.
That's right.
Is a little more valuable than Gallinari.
And it looks as though, if I had to say the lowest owned of that whole group, I guess would be Caleb Martin.
That's what I would imagine.
Okay.
It's interesting though because I don't know if it'll end up that way. Like if we end up hearing Reddish is in, that's going to lower the ownership, and then people will flip over to Caleb Martin from either Herter or Gallinari.
Right. And one other guy who's just showing up, and this is like the only guy I have. It's like listed as is like no ownership at all. Is Killian Hayes?
Yeah, I
not today, right? Okay.
I mean, I've been the Killian Hayes guy, and it is weird. Like he's 3,200. It is strange because like maybe he is. It's an interesting pivot if you wanted to skip maybe the Sykes and play Hayes, but I just feel like it's. I mean, we've seen this. It's nothing different, Yeah. It's a good game environment, I guess, but
you're just giving up a lot.
Like you're giving up some seemingly pretty sure minutes. The only thing that's questioning me about the Indiana guys is, are they going to let these guys run out there for 35 minutes again against Brooklyn? Like,
yeah, that's not what I was getting at. I was getting at something different, right? What I was getting at, I was trying to talk this through at 12 o'clock thing is that they let these guys get like twice as many shots as their best players, and they lost by 10. I just only wonder if that's going to be forced into reverse. I don't know if it matters all that much. I mean, you put the ball in people's hands, shots just going to come to them. And those two are going to have the ball in their hand. But if it comes down to, I don't know, that would be my only like game script thing to fade these guys. Because from a projection perspective and whatever, they're just kind of they're playing 35 minutes and they have the ball. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't think the shots really matter. I don't think there's anything that gonna come up. I mean, it doesn't matter if they won or lost. Sykes was 8 for 16 with 4 for 8 from 3. That's
Okay.
if you told me that, I would take that all day. And
Right.
also, but I do think that just the nature of the type of game that they will get less shots because they will pound the ball into Sabonis more, who I like as
Yeah.
well. And they will pound the ball. They probably will even give Turner more looks. And Turner is going to project poorly, but is a really good large field tournament play. This is the kind of game where you could see Turner having like that 50 to 60 game where he can block 5 shots and get 3 steals and, have the 20 and 10 with 4 threes or something. Like I could see that in this type of matchup for Turner, but it does feel a little thin with all the other stuff we have in this slate.
Sorry. Commenting on your, because I was listening a little bit to your preferred spend ups. I figured I would just throw in my 2 cents. I like Embiid, Jokic, and Sabonis, and between those 3, I guess I'll go Embiid, just because I think he's going to be the lowest owned. So that's my preferred spend up. I'm going to go down a little bit before I play Trae Young and Bradley Beal and I'm not going to play Harden after all. I was thinking about it. I'm not going to get down that far in the projection list, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably play, I think, Embiid or Jokic. I mean, you probably should. I don't say you should. I think playing one of those in your lineups is probably a good idea.
Yeah, I agree. But I think Luka is the lowest owned by far, and I'll just take Luka.
Yeah, Luka is going to be the lowest owned by far. You could play, like I said, I wonder if you could do that. I wonder if we talked about it, if you could play Luka and Jokic. I know you can. But I mean, you can play Luka and you play Luka and Jokic, and you play the 2 Indiana guards, and then you're in there.
Yeah, you don't even need to do it that way. Like I have Luka and Embiid together. I give Embiid a tiny bit of I give Embiid a look over Jokic tonight.
Okay.
I mean, but that's again, we don't know if Rudy Gobert is going to play. To answer a couple questions in chat sheets, we can go through this.
Yeah, sure.
2v2 Luka Nwora versus Lowry Kuzma. Luka Nwora will be much lower owned, so I guess I would side with that for large field tournaments. But I like both of them. I like Lowry Kuzma too. It just feels more like a steadier build that would take you to Lowry and Kuzma. How about you?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be kind of a pain in the ass about this one, and I'm going to really ask what the rest of your lineup is.
Yeah.
I mean, I just refer to projections for one or the other. I mean, but it really depends on. It seems to me. First of all, you have to make sure Nora's playing.
And starting, yeah.
I kind of have a feeling that you want to play Luka and or Nwora. That would be my preferred one. Lowry and Kuzma. I just think, again, you know me, Kuzma off the big ceiling. I don't like doing it. You know what I mean?
He's been in 3 games in a row too.
Yeah, even more so.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'd probably go Luka Nwora, obviously providing that Nwora plays. That's definitely the lower owned combination, like by a lot, I think.
Yeah. They're asking how much Middleton exposure. I currently have 65%. Sheets, how about you on Middleton exposure?
I currently have 85.
Okay.
But I have to be whittling down because just so that I didn't lie, I currently have 100% of my lineups with both Lance Stevenson and Marquise Chris, just to make sure that I had some.
Wow.
So I have to, obviously I have to take some out, but I'm still doing it. I promised I'll do it, and I'm going to do it.
Okay.
And I promise you this is that in those lineups, I do not have to worry about being different in any position. So
just make sure if you're going to play Stevenson, if you're going to take that weird long shot gamble, Just
Yeah.
don't play him with both the guards from Indy.
Right.
Right. Because you're betting on him getting more run on the second of a back-to-back first home game back in Indiana where they love him, et cetera,
Right.
et cetera.
Yeah.
Embiid or Sabonis on FanDuel. I like both of them a lot, but they're obviously different prices. But I like Embiid better, straight up. If that's the question. But I wouldn't leave 800 on the table and play Sabonis. But I would definitely like to get Sabonis exposure. So I have both of them in lineups. I actually have both of them together in lineups.
FanDuel is going to get a rest for me tonight. I'm just going to play on DraftKings. No reason, just don't feel like it.
Didn't get it 222. I can't resist the 222. You know me.
It's probably sold out anyway. So
look, I've got my girlfriend's got me this my chain here is a 222 is what the thing is on it. So I've got it.
Ooh, it's probably sold out anyway, right?
Not to mention that 222 is this year, and 222 is also her birthday. But it's 222 will also be 222, and it'll be a Tuesday. How about that? Sorry, I just saw something that said that on Instagram.
Yeah, they don't have it anymore. So
oh wow, it sold out pretty quick today.
Sold out pretty quick, I guess. Yeah, I'll let you win all the FanDuel money today.
I'll take it.
Yeah, you can take it.
I have to say I don't feel great about my builds currently. They asked if I still like Bradley Beal. Like Bradley Beal is fine. Absolutely, he could put up a ceiling game. I don't think I'm going to end up with him in my main lineups, even though he was currently in one of my initial builds. I really am having trouble mixing the guys I want with the spend ups that I want and trying to correlate games a little bit better. And it's just a little frustrating, just to be honest. But I'm trying to figure out a way to do it.
Okay.
I don't love my current builds though, so I'm going to have some work to do after the show. But I like the players I'm using. I just can't seem to find a mix that makes the most sense to me. Barton, Simons, Simons is the answer, but Barton is, if you're going to play tournaments, Barton's going to be significantly lower owned. So that really depends on your lineup too. I have no interest in any Vassell. I understand if he gets there, but there's just no reason to play him on this slate.
I agree.
Let's see. Barton, Simons on DK. Barton is not a guy who I'm really considering. So we can just skip past all that. I think he's fine, but like he's fine because he's a tournament play. So if your lineup is really chalky and you want to just make that one pivot, I think that's fine. Nothing about this screams with Monty Morris coming back. Like it's actually the worst situation Barton's been in a while. And he's more expensive than Simons. And he hasn't really put up a real big game. So I just don't see the reason why tonight would be like a special night to play Barton. He's fine. I think he's just fine. He's projected to be 8% owned. I think he should be a lot lower owned than that. But can he get there? Of course.
And who are you talking about?
Will Barton.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah. Portis on FanDuel. Yes, I do. 3,400 for utility. I don't like ending up in that range. It's Sykes, obviously. Yeah, I guess that's no question. Sykes, you could take a shot on Neto. They announced that they had a minutes limit of 30, which is a pretty freaking great sign, and it's a terrible sign for Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that is Neto is a legitimate direct pivot that could get there over Sykes, and you could play him with Washington or something. Get a little weird like that. I think that's viable. Any concern with Fox? Yes, absolutely. Fox, I have concerns about it the back-to-back. I also have concerns with the fact that he took 21 shots and still barely got there in relative terms to this slate against a Laker team that's been getting crushed by point guards. And everybody keeps saying, oh, Russ is getting torched. I'm like, I watch all these games. Russ literally never guards that guy. The guy who everybody's talking about with another narrative. You know, other guys out there are not watching the games. They're these analysts who you're listening to on other shows. Believe me, they are not watching the games at all. But it doesn't matter because Malik Monk can't guard these guys either. So it's just kind of silly everybody wants to blame Russ for everything, no matter what happens. So kind of annoying.
The reality is that nobody really can guard any of these people.
Yeah, especially guys like Ja, like Trey. Those guys are really, really near unguardable. But Fox is Look, it's a great matchup for Fox. I am worried about the second leg of the back-to-back. I think the sneaky thing to do, if it was a smaller slate, would be play because I think if this was like the same size slate as yesterday, you'd have Fox at just massive ownership. Instead, he's still going to be pretty owned. But one guy who nobody in their world is going to play is Halliburton, and especially on FanDuel where he's a little bit cheaper than Fox is. I think Halliburton is a viable direct pivot. Now, of course, there's huge concerns. I watched him; he looked horrible last night. But I think he's a viable pivot. You really don't know with these guys. The one thing about Halliburton that he has that's kind of nice is the guy gets like he's at double digits or one under double digits assists every single game. Every game, he's there, which gives him a very medium floor because he's not shooting the ball ever. But he could potentially, if he makes a couple of those threes, and you get a few of the turnovers in there. I think that Halliburton is a viable pivot. I currently have him in one of my 222 builds. I hate Davion Mitchell. I don't think there's any reason at all, unless you know somebody's going to be out, which is possible on a back-to-back. There is no reason. If Davion Mitchell gets there, so be it. But to play Davion Mitchell when they're fully healthy in his 20 minutes a game at 3,400 is just terrible play. That's the truth. Whether he gets there or not, that's another story. But you could play Davion Mitchell and leave 100 on the table. This is my favorite. If I was going to play Davion Mitchell, leave 100 on the table, have him in your utility spot, and be ready to pivot over to Whiteside. And if that doesn't happen, you're stuck with Davion Mitchell. You hope you get your 7x out of him, which is definitely possible. It's just he is by far one of the worst plays in that 3K range compared to the Washingtons, the Sykes, the Netos. Even the only thing he's got going for him is that late ability. Jordan Nwora, Ojale, and Thanasis are available to play. Tiny little bit of a downgrade for Portis for me. Still very interested in Nwora, assuming he starts. And in fact, I have some interest in Nwora even if he doesn't start. But it is a little bit higher risk.
Here's a guy that we haven't mentioned literally at all. Any interest in an available PJ Washington?
No, God, no. I mean, is PJ Washington going to play any minutes tonight? Like, I mean,
I don't know.
he's going to play some. Let's see. Projected for 20 minutes.
That's it. Okay. Okay, fair enough.
No, I'm not trying to criticize you. I'm just saying, like, I'm just.
No.
This is how this is how I think. Like, I'm like, no, that's just crazy. And like the Davion Mitchell play is crazy, but it could work out. It's going to work out, 1 time out of 10 probably.
Like Buddy Hield?
Well, Buddy Hield will work out a little more often because at least he's going to give himself a chance to shoot all the time. Davion Mitchell doesn't really like. What role does he have in the offense that has Halliburton and like two ball handlers and Halliburton and Fox? Then you have Hield, who's the catch and shoot guy. Then you've got Harrison Barnes, who they set up in the post. I don't know where Bagley they run plays for too. Like, I don't know where he fits in. And I mean, you could just go through his game log. Now, he was playing more minutes before, but you got to remember that was when none of these guys were like, there was always one of these guys out pretty much when he was having good games. He hasn't scored more than 15 fantasy points since he's been back. He hasn't played more than 24 minutes. He scored 9 fantasy points in that game. If you watch their offense run, there is absolutely no reason for Davion Mitchell, but there was no reason, for Talen Horton-Tucker to go off last night either. It just happens sometimes in basketball.
Right.
Percentage of Christian Wood. I'm going to be – he's one I'm sort of taking I was going to be well below the field, but now everybody's off of him, so I'm probably going to end up slightly above the field. And what I would say about Christian Wood is if you're going to play him, maybe do it on FanDuel where his ownership will be sliced in half. Because the 7,200 versus 6,200, add in the shot blocking upside. I mean, when Christian Wood gets there, he gets there in a massive way. Now, usually he really hasn't gotten there in a while, but for 6,200, he's gotten there okay enough. But he can put up like 50, and this is a great game for him to have a chance to do that. I feel very, very, very skeptical about that whole situation. But if I'm skeptical and everybody else starts to be too skeptical as well, then it's time to play him because we know the ceiling is there.
Well, what about Trae Young is questionable?
Yep. He has been all day, though.
He went to shoot around. Okay.
Yeah, I think that yeah.
Yeah, you made a really good point earlier about not only are these guards kind of tough because they're only point guard eligible,
Yeah.
so you can't even screw around with the Sykes and the Washington really.
Yeah. K9 has a great question, which is last FanDuel small forward spot, Scotty Barnes or OG. These are both good plays. What worries me about OG is he's coming back off of the long absence and it's a back-to-back. I would give it to the young guy in that case, and that would be Scotty Barnes. But I do think that they're both viable. I think OG will be slightly lower owned. I just would give a little bit the edge to Scotty Barnes there with the young legs. He missed a few games as well, but OG's a guy who's had nagging injuries throughout his brief young career, and just I could see him maybe them taking a little bit easier on him than they would on Scotty Barnes, which is odd because Scotty Barnes is probably more important to their franchise. Well, not probably, he's definitely more important to their franchise, but they're both very, very important guys, and I would give the edge to Scotty Barnes, but I think it's really close. And I like Gary Trent too. His price on FanDuel is viable. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Gary Trent outscored Anthony Simons and he's cheaper and you could play them together, all that stuff.
Do you like any Harrison Barnes?
I ended up with a little bit of him and I don't like it. I do think somebody goes, oh, he's cheap on FanDuel, especially he's 5,300. It's going to have some ownership over there too. Every time I watch the Kings play, the offense tends to run through the guards. But, can Barnes get there? I mean, Barnes hasn't scored 30 fantasy points since the 17th of December, and I would be willing to bet that on that game, in that environment, they were missing at least one or two of the guys who are now available. But I wouldn't also be surprised. I would also not be surprised if Sacramento sat somebody on a second end. We're going to get that late news, so that's why backloading those games are really important. I would suggest, who would I suggest from Orlando? I would suggest nobody from Orlando. How about you, Sheets? Anybody from Orlando for you?
I didn't get to any. So is what's his name out?
Nobody's out.
Cole Anthony, I mean.
He's in. Carter's in.
Oh, so you have no interest in the Cole Anthony after all?
No. The slate changed completely.
Okay.
After the Embiid news, how do you play Cole Anthony over Holiday here? I think it is kind of a fun, just because.
How do you play who over who?
Cole Anthony over Drew Holiday.
Oh, Drew Holiday. I thought I'm like Aaron Holiday. What do you?
But there's the thing is with Anthony, that's sort of the reason I don't like. I guess on FanDuel he's okay, but I don't know. I guess it's okay. I just don't. I think it's a long shot. You just got to treat it like it's a long shot tournament play. Yeah, the more I look at this though, I really like Embiid. By the way, Tobias Harris is going to have a big night tonight. Now he's not a guy we usually like to play at all on big slates, but this is a good spot for him. Not to mention going back to Orlando. Definitely you want to play him on FanDuel more so because he's 7,100 over there. But at 8K, there's a guy who no one's playing. I don't think it's a great play, but it's something that I would get a little bit of exposure to if I was playing, 40 or 50 lineups, which I am. So I'll probably throw him into a lineup or two.
Hey, can I get your permission to do something?
Do it.
Can I get your permission to not play any Trey Lyles?
Of course.
Okay.
But I'm going to have a tiny bit of them, just so you know.
No,
do we like any T-Wolves? I have Anthony Edwards still as a viable play, but we don't know. I mean, we don't know about Cat, what the situation is with Cat and Russell yet. So really hard to answer. So definitely no priorities for me on the Timberwolves. If you end up, wanting to play some Anthony Edwards, I think that's always a good tournament play. Even if those guys play, he could put up a big number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, Anthony Edwards versus Tobias Harris, because of the situation they're in Philly, I kind of might give the edge to Tobias Harris, which is really weird to say out loud. Rudy Gay is a long shot tournament play. I don't think that it's not my kind of play. I think he's viable. I probably will have one lineup with him in it because of the just in case factor. And it's more going to be because I believe, unless they change, he's 3,400 and Whiteside's 35. So I think you try to hopefully be able to make that switch for that extra 100 if you can in the utility, or somehow be able to have a 2v2 that you can do that. That's what I would do. Yeah, I know Cat and D'Lo are expected to play. We were well aware, but again, we've seen guys expected not play when there's still game time decisions. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to treat it as 100% until like Trey even tonight. I've got a bunch of Trey, but at least I've got guys I can pivot to in those late games.
Right.
There's a lot there, but the problem is if Trey somehow ends up out and Reddish somehow ends up out, oh boy, we're going to be really wishing for late games. Clarkson is a long shot tournament play. Yes. There's so many guys that are in play, guys. So I'm going to say the same thing. I'm not playing him. Is he fine to play? Yes. But I don't think that's optimal to try and play him, but to try and, you need a lot of things to break right for you, I think. I do think he's a solid play, but I mean, it's a fine play, but just this is not the right slate to try and force it in my opinion. I'm going to get out of here, guys. I got to finish building. I'm going to say good luck to everybody tonight. Sheets, good luck. Everybody out there, let's win some money. I will be in Discord until God knows when, until the slate's locked for the last game. So good luck, everybody, and we'll see you at the top leaderboards.
Yeah, so I'm just going to continue to screw around with these things. I want to build my long shot, no shot. What's up?
I'll take that.
No.
I'm gonna say that.
Could you close it? No. So I'm going to build my Lance, my Lance and Chris things, which I promised I would do. I do like that still. So what I have to do is have to go and just redo the projections here, because it's not going to even want me or let me play these guys unless I up their projection like mightily. So I'm giving Lance like 30 fantasy points just for the purposes of doing this. And then I'll give Marquise Chris 30 fantasy points. This way I'll definitely get and I don't need to do any kind of ownership fade when I play these guys, because that's all I need is those guys to get all the ownership fade I need. And I'm going to play them in, what did I say, 6 lineups over there and 1 lineup over there, just for fun. I don't know why I have a feeling about that, but so we're going to have no, as long as I have no Lyles, no Lyles, no Lyles, no Lyles, no Lyles, good, no Lyles, no Lyles, excellent, okay. I don't need 15 lineups, I just need 6. Excellent, okay. So, take these 6. And you know what? Who knows? It's like do as I say, not as I do. You know what I mean? Like don't play Marquise Chris and Lance Stevenson, but I'm doing it. Or play him, whatever. I just let you know what I'm doing. They don't project well, they don't rate well, but I'm just feeling it. That's the best I can say. I read through all of his history, Chris against Golden State, and God forbid they let him play. He's just going to come in mad, and that's you know what? That's good enough for me. So I'll go through my exposures here, then I'll go questions. I have almost all Washington and Sykes. It's kind of hard to avoid. Got 35% Embiid. I got 73% Sabonis. I have 46% Little, 65% Simons, 45% Christian Wood, 50% Middleton. And the rest are kind of sprinkles. What did I say? 46% Nasir Little, 27% Marquise Chris. Where's Lance? Lance is somewhere, right? I mean, I have to have the same amount of him, right? Not getting to 27% Lance Stevenson as well. So there you go. Put my money where my mouth is. See what happens. Maybe I win with 2 zeros. You never know. All right, that'll do it. Wait, some questions. Novak got rejected. Oh, you know what? What do you think about that, Kevin?
Jordan Clarkson already, always some interest. Pokey actually started over the weekend, Kevin. I mentioned that. I know Bobby was he missed it over the weekend, but he got a shot. Pokashevsky started over the weekend, really didn't do anything. Yeah, you think that Djokovic got screwed, that he should have been allowed in? I didn't really look into it too much, and I know that situations like that, if you react to reactively, without looking into it, you might come up to a conclusion you can't back away from. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't read into all of it. I mean, honestly. I mean, if I'm reading it right, they don't let people in that are not vaccinated or something, and there's a rule that no one can play in the Australian Open if they're not vaccinated, and he asked for an exemption. Is that basically the summary of it? And I guess the idea is that if it wasn't Djokovic, like they wouldn't let him in. That's the argument. They're giving Djokovic special favors because he's a number one player. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see. As my dad would say, there's always three sides to every story. And as other people would say, there's my side, your side, and the truth is always somewhere in the middle, right? So it's probably not something as simple as this, but you can certainly argue both sides. I don't think that. I mean, for me, I don't think that he should be allowed in because the vaccination rules are BS. You know what I mean? I don't think that that's good enough to get him an exemption over everybody else, right? I think my natural instinct is the best argument is it's a business decision, maybe, that it's worth more to let him play than it would be, an effective, would it be to make him not play, I guess. Maybe it's just a business decision by the Australian Open that they'll make that much more money if he plays. And also, if my son was telling me, it's not fair that Djokovic gets to play and XYZ might not, I'd be like, well, welcome to the world. That's why Larry Bird always got the calls at Boston Garden. And that's just the way it is. So that's that type of argument. But I don't know about just that they should let him play because the rule sucks. Change the rule, if you want, but to let him get through on a probably a BS medical exemption, that kind of stinks. You know what I mean? Like, just say we made a mistake. The rules suck. It doesn't apply to athletes. Say something like that. As opposed to this is just bad optics, right? Just letting him play where no one else, I would imagine. That's not true. Maybe other people could apply for the same exemption. Boy, these are as what's the Nick Nolte said in Blue Chips, 2 billion people probably don't even give a shit. Whatever. Whether he plays or not. I didn't know it's going to make my my tennis DFS lineups a little harder. I never get to him though. I mean, that's the cool thing about tennis DFS. You never can really play the top players. They price these guys way high. I mean, you can. Korkmaz or Martin. For me, I think it's Martin. I'm not doing Korkmaz off the ceiling like that. So that's just me. Korkmaz to me is like, has a couple of ceiling games every time and again, but this is not the type of guy I like to play. Best I can describe it. Anything else before I strut? I have to redo some of my golf lineups. That starts tomorrow because I want to do another. I did update the ownership projections over there. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Yeah, I almost won the whole thing with the 0. It's rough. It's tough to win with a 0, right? Do I have let's see if I have a sports bet here. I don't like Shea tonight, Griff. Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Because I'm telling you, my friend Jack, he is legit the sharpest non-professional gambler that I know. Let me just find it. Because he comes up with all. I went to college with him, and we picked all kinds of stuff all the time. We did this way too much, but hold on. Let's see, because I know he gave something out. Wait, Tide will get killed. He likes Georgia, but that's I don't care about that. We're buy this seller. Really like LSU. Should we pick them? Some use on the money. Buffalo, Tampa, KC, LSU, Cleveland, Baltimore. No, I can't really find. No, I can't really find his picks. Yeah, so I did. Let me pull up my my sports betting account here because it was closed all day today. I don't know what's going on. Oh, here it is. Let's see what I cashed for here. I had that 3-teamer, which I really like. I mean, I didn't like. I just played it. Yeah, look at this. We are piling on the BTC. We got 16.7 MBTC in this one. All right. Let's see if I like anything tonight. No, nothing really. I really have no opinions here. We got esports coming soon. LOL is coming soon. You know what I'm gonna do? Let's see if we can find a golf one. Here, we're gonna on my account here. Let's go into sports and let's try to find golf. Okay. So these are. I want the tournament outright. All right. So tournament outright, tournament of champions. Okay. So there's 8-1. This is the way I do it. So it's 8-1, 9-1, 11-1. So let's look at some. What I'm really going to just do is look at my projections. I know it's not exactly the same, but what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do this, is I'm going to rank my guys by fantasy points, even though it doesn't exactly correlate to winning, but whatever. I want to see who is misplaced. In other words, like for example, I have Justin Thomas rated number 1. Is he ranked number 1 here? Yes. All right, no edge. Rom 2, Colin Morikawa 3, so he's terrible value. Bryson I have 3rd. They're giving him 4th place. Xander 5th. I have 1. Canley I have rated 4th. Where is he? So he is 7th. Little bit of value there. 15-1. I have Hovland at 5th. He's 6th rated. You got to like dumpster dive to make this really work. Daniel Berger, I'm sure, is going to take money as he always does. Yeah, he's 11th, and I have him at 8th. That's not terrible. Cam Smith, about the same. They have him at 10th. I have him about 9th. Burns. Oh, wow. They have him like way up here. Finau, let's see him. Okay, so Finau, they have him 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16th, and I have him 11th. So far, the best value I have. So 25-1 on the Finau. And then there is the Sungjae M. Wow, he's not even on the list. I have him rated like 12th. Can he win? I can't even get down there. I can't even find the arrow. Okay. Oh, he's up here. What am I talking about? Im is 22-1. Hold on, I'll pull this up again. Well, my PGA. Where is it? Hold on. Where did it go? Where PGA? I gotta find it again. Okay, hold on. PGA projections. Okay, I don't know what happened to these guys. Okay, so so it looked like Finau was the best play over there. Finau looks like a really strong play. Spieth, whatever. Siwoo Kim, no. Koepka, he's over here, 25-1. So let's do it. Let's fly. Let's play Tony Finau. We gotta get this stuff out of my crap. Get this out of my freaking bet history. Freaking son. So we'll play Finau for 2 MBTCs at 25-1. Boom. Okay, we're in. I did run some ownership. I think it's 21.95. I think you get a month free or something. It's something. When you go on there, you can see. I should probably know this. Yeah, I might be with you, Mr. JJ. Light some film money on fire. That's fun. Yeah, I just every is so close. It's tough. It really is tough. Koepka. I guess English is all right, 11%. That's not bad. Now that I think about it. They're pretty damn efficient this week, I have to say. I usually can get some real big hoodoo up there. I can't really. It's nothing really. It's too bad. But not that I'm not going to play. You leave some on the table? Sure. I mean, sure, it's golf. You know what I mean? Like, this it's very possible. But like, I'm not going to play Patrick Reed. That's what I'm not doing. I'm not going to play like Mark Leishman at 21%, who's going to rate down here for me. That's just not my thing. I'm not going to play Billy Horschel at 13% down there. So these are the guys that I can X. Maybe Morikawa at less than 20. Rahm less than 20. Hideki, but maybe Answer. This is probably a good play. Answer, English, these 8K dudes. That's not bad. All right, that's all I got. I will. Good luck, and if I can make another update, I will, but I can't promise.